my reaction to receiving my June SAT score. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. On my Instagram and on my TikTok, I posted a poll or just a kind of questionnaire to see if you guys would like this video, which is basically my SAT journey to scoring a 1330 this June. And most of you guys said yes, that is something you'd like to see. In this video, I'll be talking about my experiences, my study methods, tips, and plan. And at the end of the day, I'm honestly just a girl who took the SAT in June and got a 1330. So none of this is like professional advice, but it is based on my own personal experiences. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Let's go. Okay, I'm back and I'm a lot more calmer. I was taking notes so I can discuss with you guys from the beginning. I took the first SAT ever in March when it was administered to my school. I didn't study for that one at all because I had ACE testing going on and I was more concerned with passing my ACE test than I was with the SAT at the time. I really wasn't concerned about the SAT. So when I took that, I got an 1160. Every practice test, every PSAT I've taken before that, I've gotten 1100 this, 1100 that. I've never exceeded my 1100 score until testing season ended and I decided that I was gonna lock in for the SAT because I personally was not happy with an 1160. So 2 or 3 weeks of just trying to lock in on studying for the SAT using Khan Academy because that's the only resource I really knew how to work with well. I decided to use that. I set up a study plan and I stuck to it. When I tell you, it was difficult, especially with math. Math is not my strong suit. Math beat me up every time. That's the only thing I studied for. This SAT that I took in June, which I have a whole little mini series on, you can see it. I'll make a playlist about it. It's in the description. When I went to take this SAT, I was honestly so nervous. The couple days before it, maybe a week before it, I'd stopped studying because I was just like, I give up. Like, I don't know, maybe this one just isn't for me. But I was like, you know what, let me take a practice test at least. And on that practice test, I got a 1270. And that was honestly so motivating, so inspirational, because to never leave the 1100 jail and then jump to nearly a 1300, are you kidding me? That was so inspirational and motivational. So it's like, okay, I actually have the potential and I have the capacity to do this. With that in mind, I used that mindset and that motivation and I took that into the test with me. Nevertheless, there were questions on the test that I was like, God, if you don't answer this question, it's not getting answered. So I had to pray a couple times during that test because it was diabolical, especially when I got to the second module for both parts, which is a good sign because it is an adaptive test. But the final score came out today and I got a 1330, which is the highest I've ever gotten, and I'm just completely ecstatic. As you saw, I got a 720 in reading and a 610 in math. 610 in math for me is like, whoa, no way. Like I said, I literally only studied for math because I'm really bad at math, or so I think. Overall, I'm in the 94th percentile of test takers, so I was like, that's pretty cool. And that's the whole SAT process thus far. I don't think I'm gonna take it again. I don't want to. That's for sure. I don't want to take it again, but if I must, then I will. So that was a little bit of my backstory and my experience with taking the SAT up until this point. Let's get into the study resources that I use. First and foremost, I use Khan Academy 100%. Khan Academy, YouTube, and Google. That's really it. But I've heard Acely is a good resource that you can use. Another great resource is Blue Book, right? And that's where you'll find your practice tests, but I'll talk about that more in depth later. For Khan Academy, one of the major things people have told me since I started this kind of SAT series is that Khan Academy is so like overwhelming because there's so many modules and there's so many things to do. And I completely understand that. When I was studying for the SAT, I only had about 2 to 3 weeks. Realistically, I knew I'm not gonna finish all the modules, all the units, 100% accuracy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Khan Academy strategically and attack my weak points because that's all I have time to fix. So starting off very general. There's the reading section and then there's the math section. And my weak point would be the math section. So I go into the math section and there are, I think, 13 units. The first unit has no practice problems, so maybe like 12 units. The units themselves are broken up into foundations, medium, and then advanced. I'm like, you know what? Let me study the foundation section. Let me practice. Let me see what are my foundational weaknesses, because math just builds off of itself. If you don't know the basics, you're not going to be able to do like the more advanced things, which they like to do on the SAT because it's an adaptive test. So if you do well on the basics of something, they're going to give you a harder version of it. So that's why the foundations are very important. So that's where I started with Khan Academy, and I would just honestly go through in whatever amount of time that is. I had my own little study plan, which I'll get into later in the video, but that's how I used it. Focus on my weaknesses, and whenever I found that I would run into a problem in the foundation section where I was like confused and stressed out, and I was like, I don't understand. What do you mean prove a triangle is a triangle? It has 3 sides, it's a triangle. I would get frustrated and I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing this. Let's just hope they don't ask me anything about triangles, you know? That's how I identified my weaknesses. Because I was on a time crunch, I didn't necessarily have time to just stay stuck on that and continue to be stressed out. So I would move on and then later come back. When I finished the foundation section, I would come back. Pro tip, because I've been asked this before. No, I have not finished the entire Khan Academy module. You can, it's very much possible, especially if you start studying now for the August SAT. You have a lot of time to do that. But if you're on a time crunch, if you're watching this video like 3 days before you have to take it, maybe a week before you have to take it, then yeah, you're not gonna finish that. Identify your weak points and focus on that. As much as I tell you that Khan Academy is a great resource and the only resource I really used besides maybe YouTube to explain problems more in depth and then Google to search practice problems, there are some pros which I've listed, and then there's one major con that I can think about is that Khan Academy doesn't offer practice tests anymore. I think they used to, but as of right now, they do not offer practice tests. So that's why Bluebook is your best bet for practice tests. My favorite thing about Bluebook, this is gonna sound like an ad, but it's not an ad. My favorite thing about Bluebook is that you take the practice test, you get your score, and then when you're looking at your score, they give you a breakdown or a score analysis. That is what you want. That is literally everything in there because it gives you the types of questions that they asked you, and you can identify from there which ones did I get wrong. So using math as an example, if I took the section of math and now it shows me I got these questions right, I got these questions wrong. When I look at the questions, it gives me the question type. Is this algebra? Is this trigonometry? Is this advanced algebra? Is this etc., right? So that is your literal best friend, because this is why Bluebook and Khan Academy go hand in hand. Look for the commonalities. I don't know if that's the right word to use. Look for the commonalities that you get wrong in your practice test so that when you go back to Khan Academy, that's how you identify your weak points. The first thing I would recommend doing when you start studying for the SAT is to take a practice test off the bat. I didn't do this just because I was like, I kind of have to like build up the momentum to take a practice test, to just sit down for like 2 hours and do it, because I really don't like taking practice tests. So I didn't do that, but I definitely would recommend that. Take a practice test, and from there, boom, you can already identify your weak points. So you don't have to waste time going through the entire module to try and see, oh, what don't I know? Then you get burnt out and then you get tired and then you're like, you know what, whatever, the next SAT I'll lock in. No, because it's going to end up in this vicious cycle of, I don't want to take the SAT because it's just, the prep for it is stressful. I hate studying for it. It's a vicious cycle. So take a practice test, identify your weaknesses early on, and you will be golden. And for a study plan, get a planner. Get a planner. I'm so serious. Me personally, I would say I'm a very organized and meticulous person when it comes to planning things. Let me show you. This is my planner. This is my academic planner. April 26th. If the SAT is on this day, right? And you have whatever, identify how many weeks, how many days you have until you have to take that SAT. And if you're like, you know what, I don't want to study for the SAT on the weekends. Okay, cross out those days. Now you have these many days left. Like, come on, you have to make it work for yourself, right? Because not everybody functions the same. Not everybody can just sit down for 3 weeks straight and study for the SAT. Some of us, like me, need breaks in between. I need a day off. I just can't do it. I get overwhelmed and I get stressed out. So plan when you're gonna study for what, right? And that will help you stay organized and consistent, and will honestly help you keep and maintain that discipline as long as you're working in breaks and rest and relaxation throughout that, because it's very easy to get burnt out from that. So that's what I would say for your study plan. From the day that this video is posted, there are 57 days until the August SAT. Excluding weekends, there are 41 days, 41 weekdays, and you can break that up however you want, you know? So identify how much time you have, and then identify what you're going to be doing with that time so you can use your time effectively. So like I said before, you don't get burnt out. I really hope this video helped. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, because I really do want to help you. Like I said, I'm literally just a girl who took the SAT, and honestly, everybody else is taking it too. Why not help somebody else? So yes, let me know any comments or questions or concerns you may have in the comments below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can and as effectively as I can. Subscribe, and I will see you next week. Bye guys.